Geopolitical conflict is defined by an unending cycle of adaptation. As one side develops a weapon, the other seeks a countermeasure. As defenses harden, the offense must become more clandestine. This process drives clandestine operations out of the shadows and into the realm of advanced engineering. For decades, targeted assassination has been employed as a means of strategic disruption, but the method itself has undergone a profound evolution. It shifted from relying heavily on the vulnerability of human operatives to exploiting the vulnerabilities inherent in modern technology. What began as a localized, high-risk operation seeking minimal collateral damage has transitioned into remote, complex technological warfare conducted at scale. This evolution is not merely about achieving precision, it is about decoupling the act of killing from the physical presence of the perpetrator. It is a transition from surgical removal to structural decapitation. In the mid-1990s, the order facing Israeli security agencies was one defined by improvised chaos. Yahya Ayyash, known as the Engineer, had mastered the use of triacetone triperoxide, TATP, an unstable explosive easily synthesized from common household materials. Ayyash's innovation democratized terror, making deadly suicide bombings frequent and difficult to predict. He became the central structural threat. To counter this asymmetric violence, the response had to be equally precise but radically constrained. The security establishment, primarily Israel's internal agency, Shin, with support from Mossad, faced the dilemma of neutralizing a man who was now operating deep within protected territory in the Gaza Strip. The conventional raid was too risky, promising confrontation and high casualties. The resulting operation required not technology, but deep human vulnerability. A relative of Ayyash, lured by promises of payment and safe passage, was recruited. The plan was not to launch a missile, but to exploit the target's most basic and trusted modern tool, the borrowed cell phone.
On January 5, 1996, Ayyash made the call. The explosive device, contained within the handset, was detonated remotely from a distance. The operation was surgically precise. Ayyash was killed instantly, with zero collateral damage to the surrounding environment or persons. It was a tactical success, demonstrating the power of contained, personalized covert action. However, the strategy immediately revealed its systemic flaw, the consequence of removal. While the architect was gone, the network was galvanized. The assassination was swiftly followed by a wave of 4 major retaliatory suicide bombings in February and March 1996, killing dozens of Israeli civilians. This outcome shifted the strategic calculus. Success could no longer be defined merely by the removal of a single high-value target. The operation needed to evolve beyond tactical precision to achieve sustainable strategic impact, which meant reducing the potential for immediate, organized reprisal. This demanded not better recruitment, but a decisive technological leap.
2 decades later, the structural threat had changed, demanding an entirely different response. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was alleged by Western intelligence to be the critical leader of Iran's military nuclear program, operating with the protection of state resources deep within Iranian territory. A logistics-heavy, human-intensive operation was no longer viable against such a fortified target. To bridge the vast geographical and security gap, the technology of targeted killing had to become highly automated and anonymous. The notion of a zero boots on the ground operation emerged, though this term misleadingly ignores the substantial groundwork required for placement, intelligence, and preparation. This was an operation not relying on spontaneity, but on pre-placed, highly complex engineering. The weapons system deployed against Fakhrizadeh near Absard in 2020 was a highly modified FN-AMG machine gun, fitted with robotic components, a precision optic sensor, and satellite communication equipment. It was a 1-ton assembly, smuggled into Iran piece by piece and mounted on a pickup truck. This was advanced automation designed for remote command and execution, utilizing facial recognition for verification, but demanding immense logistical effort long before the firing began.
On November 27, 2020, Fakhrizade's convoy approached the target zone. The operative was safely located thousands of miles away. The system tracked Fakhrizadeh, verified his identity through automated sensors, and fired a calculated burst of rounds, killing him instantly, while narrowly missing his wife, who was traveling alongside him. The vehicle carrying the weapon self-destructed almost immediately afterward, erasing the physical evidence and ensuring no immediate capture of assets or personnel. The Fakhrizadeh operation demonstrated a new technical capability, the removal of a high-value state asset without direct intelligence personnel present at the moment of execution. It was a spectacular display of remote automation. Yet this success paved the way for the strategic reevaluation of collateral cost. The earlier constraint of minimizing damage, central to the Ayyash case, was about to be discarded in favor of systemic disruption. The focus moved from eliminating an individual threat to destroying the structure that supported thousands of threats.
The ultimate expression of this technological shift arrived in September 2024. The target was no longer a single leader or scientist, but the entire communications network of Hezbollah across Lebanon and Syria. This operation utilized the same principle of remote detonation, but at an industrial scale. Logistics became key. An alleged Mossad front company, BAC Consulting KFD, procured thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies. These devices were modified to contain explosives, likely PETN or RDX, and then systematically distributed into Hezbollah's supply chains over a period of months. The sophisticated logistics of insertion replaced the old logistics of recruitment or clandestine assembly. On September 17th, synchronization was achieved. Thousands of pagers detonated simultaneously across 2 nations. The following day, hundreds of walkie-talkies followed. This was explicitly not a surgical operation. The result was catastrophic structural damage, approximately 37 deaths, but over 3,500 injuries. The strategic imperative had officially shifted from surgical precision to mass coordinated disruption, an unavoidable acceptance of mass casualties in exchange for total communication paralysis.
The evolution of the targeted strike reveals a continuous tension between technological capability and strategic consequence. The goal remains constant, neutralizing perceived existential threats. But the methodology has transformed radically. In the span of 3 decades, the localized man-portable cell phone bomb was replaced by highly automated weaponry, which was itself superseded by synchronized mass-distributed explosive devices inserted deep into enemy logistics. This shift demonstrates that power in modern conflict emerges by exploiting systemic constraints. When close-quarters operations are constrained, technology offers remote control. When single-target strikes lead to immediate retaliation, the strategy shifts to structural collapse achieved through sheer scale. These operations, never formally acknowledged, continue to redefine the laws of war, blurring the lines between intelligence action and warfare, precision and proliferation. The technological capacity for highly anonymous, synchronized warfare is now established. And in the continuous cycle of conflict and adaptation, that capacity will inevitably continue to define the next phase of covert power.